Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Talk Talks. I'm here with Jean. I'm Carla, of course. And we have a new member here. Well, she has been a member for a while, but she is now present here in the podcast. Miss Lottie, welcome.
Hello, I'm here finally.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy I can actually be recording for once.
Yes, very
Thank God.
exciting. Anything you want to share with us before we start?
Do my introduction. So yeah, hello, I'm Lottie. I'm 18. My favorite driver is Lewis Hamilton. I feel like everyone said that, but here we go. My favorite team is McLaren, and my favorite track is probably Brazil.
Interesting.
Mix up a bit.
Yeah. Favorite
I like
team and driver are different.
Yeah, but
There we go.
Lewis was at McLaren, so
True.
Stuck to the roots.
yeah.
How was that race? Yes, definitely very interesting race in Australia. We're finally back at Albert Park.
3 years we've waited to be back.
Yes, it was a long wait.
Too long.
It was
But-
actually my first Australian race.
Really?
Yeah, I started watching in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
so that was my first.
Wow.
Oh, how was the
Yeah.
land of Dani Riggs?
I liked it actually. Really, well, I watched the older season where there was Australia, but I never watched it live.
Mhm.
But I actually really liked the track, and the changes they did were actually not that bad.
Yeah. Couple of changes.
5 changes.
think- Yeah. You want to mention them?
Yeah, so there was obviously the main change was what was the chicane was now just a fast right-hander,
Mm-hmm.
which I think when it was a chicane, it caught a lot of people out, like just crashing. Like I think it was 2018, 19. Mainly Drive to Survive showed me this. There was a lot of crashes either on like the entrance to that corner or the exit to that corner. So they changed it and made it more high speed, which is great for the new regs, obviously, with the 2022 cars. There was also a change with turn 1. So it, instead of just being almost like the chicane, it actually kind of curved a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost turned into a left and right or a right to left. I can't quite remember the direction. So that corner changed. And then there was 3 other corners. I think mainly it was just changing the runoffs and just changing almost the entrances to them. But ultimately it made for more overtakes. I think that in 2019 with the old layout, there was only 10 overtakes in the whole Grand Prix.
Oh.
And there was obviously way more in this one, as we saw.
Mhm.
So it shows that the track layout changing
Mhm.
definitely helped with the overtaking because there was more going on track and a
And
lot of
DRS
track.
zones. We had
Yeah.
4 for qualifying, and they were changed this morning before the race to 3 DRS zones,
Yes,
which
they just removed one.
yeah, just out of the blue. But it was for safety reasons, so I guess that's good.
You don't want to make the track too quick because it does cause a lot of crashes, and there was a lot of crashes.
Yeah,
this
either way,
weekend.
there was a lot. But let's get into that, shall we?
Yes.
So, first lap chaos. Great start from Lewis.
Yeah.
He overtook Checo right away. And then George overtook Lando as well. So good job for Mercedes after a chaotic qualifying.
Yeah.
The one that had a terrible start, Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
He was so slow. I don't know what was going on with the car or with him, but it was just terrible.
So
How
I
Yuki
think it was an issue
was
with mapping.
Yuki or Pierre, can't remember.
Pierre had a good start, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Carlos's start was mainly when you looked I obviously, because I have F1 TV, I looked at the perspective of the drivers. When you look on Carlos's perspective, they changed his steering wheel 5-10 minutes before they went off for the formation lap. And they changed it because apparently it just had like a configuration issue. But basically, because it wasn't mapped to the car properly, it's not, when he's gone to go off the line, it's anti-stalled. So the lights that obviously flash up on the wheel when you start, they flashed and then they stopped and then they flashed again. So he anti-stalled on the line, which let, I think, 2 or 3 drivers through. So obviously he's then had to make up all the time that he's lost from the anti-stall, and then he dropped like 2 positions anyway, just that wasn't the wheel's fault. And then obviously the straight lining the chicane and almost taking Mick out.
Yeah, he tried overtaking Mick and then ended up in the grass. Slide across the track into the gravel. Virtual safety car deployed.
It was definitely a downer on what had actually been a strong weekend for Ferrari, but not for Sainz, because he had that muck up on his quali lap, which somehow he saved the car from going into the wall, which was amazing. But yeah, a lot of issues for Carlos. And even when he wasn't crashing or like just the quali laps messing up, he was still quite a lot of speed off of Charles. So maybe that's kind of where them two are differing. I'm not sure.
Talking about safety cars, how funny was that scooter scene? Just Aston Martin drivers love scooters, apparently.
Especially this weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
This weekend they were needed a lot.
Yeah, I want to be the guy that drives on the scooter and drives like the drivers all over the track. Like,
I want such a good job.
That would be very fun. If you don't get fined for it.
Oh yeah.
How much was Sebastian fined?
5,000?
5,000? 50,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I was watching an interview with him where they asked him what happened there. He basically said that the steward or the person that was supposed to drive the scooter, he just asked him like, hey, can I drive to the paddock alone in the scooter? And he was like, yeah, just take the scooter. So that's why he did it.
Oh my God. Yeah. Everyone just lets like Seb do what he wants. He's just like
how can you not?
He's like the dad of the grid. Like really if Seb says something, it's like everyone listen to Seb. Like
talking about stewards, did you see when Max did he crash? No, he didn't crash, but he was on the side and there was a steward with the fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was just like, and Max was just screaming at him to come, and he was like, stuck. That was so funny.
Max is just standing there like, someone do something.
The difference, like saying yes to Seb all the time and then being scared of Max Verstappen screaming at you.
Because I feel like with Seb, he does it in a gentle manner. He's probably like, can you help with Max? It's just
would you mind?
I would be scared of Max yelling at me,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I would be scared too, to be honest.
Yeah, I think everyone would be scared.
He had a good reason to scream, to be honest. His car was on fire.
Okay, so next thing, very interesting, whilst the safety car was out, Stroll pitted under the safety car from hard to mediums and then did a lap and went back into the pits for hard tires, which was very interesting.
It was very
I was very confused.
Yeah.
But he did that because of the tire rule, like you have to change your tires at least once in the race, which is also why Albon. Yeah, which is also why Albon pitted so one time on the last lap. But I was very confused about that strategy.
Albon had an eventful weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got disqualified in qualifying because of a fuel infringement.
Mhm.
And then, well, he was back at the grid anyway because he had a grid drop from a crash with Stroll at Saudi. And then he got disqualified in qualifying. And obviously that kind of solidified P20. And then he worked his way to P10, running the whole race on the hards. And I remember at one point watching it going, is he actually going to pit? He needs to pit, surely, because of the tyre rule. And then he comes in on the soft, bang. I was like,
yes.
And he
That was
points.
a big risk taken from the Williams team.
I really didn't think he lost the race. Like, I really thought his tyre would just pop or, wouldn't do
He would have fought, like, on the hards, because obviously the hards is, like, the long-lasting. So it's going to go a while. But
but not the way.
Not
especially
that great.
Since many people were struggling with graining on their tires.
Max
so that was an issue.
I remember lap like 12.
Yeah.
Max coming on the radio going, I'm struggling with the graining really badly. And that was kind of like, surely he's not going to pit this early.
Yeah. They changed something
so just odd.
Like they changed like the I don't remember, like when you turn, I don't know the word in English, but they changed something on his car just before the start, and the French commentators, I think it causes that, like, the graining and how he was a bit struggling with his tires.
But yeah, there was a lot of just tire problems just all around, because I think the track is so punishing. You can probably run on the curbs once or twice and it will just ruin a tire. So it is one of them tracks that does kill the tires very quickly.
Does it also have to do with the fact that it is a street circuit?
Possibly. The tire deg's probably a bit more higher, I reckon, or more kind of the tires will degrade quicker on a street circuit. They did at Jeddah, if you think about it. Like, a lot of people made early stops because they were saying that the tires were grading. So obviously there must be an issue just with street circuits. And you remember, obviously, cast your minds back to Baku last year, 2 tire problems on a street circuit. It doesn't really bide well for tires and street circuits. Not a good combination.
But how fun are they? I love street circuits.
They're great fun. It's just obviously, there's a lot of like hit and misses with them. Like sometimes they're great. Azerbaijan last year was pretty good entertainment wise, obviously, because they're in the title fight. Australia, loads of people forget that's actually a street circuit. And that obviously made for good racing this year. And then you obviously have Jeddah, which is the fastest street circuit on the calendar. That made for good racing the 2 years you were there. So just Monaco's the odd one out in this. It's the anomaly.
Well,
it's just
Monaco. Very mixed opinions on Monaco, I guess.
Yeah.
So around lap 20, there was a very interesting battle between Verstappen. No, wait, this is wrong. Gasly and Alonso and Verstappen. Oh yeah, because when the safety. Let me back up a bit. I remember now. When Verstappen came out of the pits, he came just right in front of Gasly and Alonso, which gave the opportunity for Alonso to do a very smart move on Gasly, because I think Gasly was focusing more on Max and not thinking much about Alonso in the back. So Alonso was like, this is it. This is the opportunity I'm going to take. And I thought that was a very smart move from him.
Yeah,
Alonso had a contrasting one as well. Because there was an interesting thing I saw. It was a graph on Twitter of everyone in the top 10, their fastest sector times that they set for their final laps. And Alonso's lap before he obviously had that hydraulic problem with the car, his second sector was the fastest out of everyone, and his first sector, I think, was quicker than Leclerc.
Yeah.
So
He
people
was
were
gonna make
saying
the
it
front
could have
row.
been, if it wasn't a pole lap, it was front row.
Yeah.
Which
I was
is
very impressed by that as well. I did not expect it at all. And obviously it was very unfortunate in the end. But when I saw his lap in the end, I was like, wait, was he gonna make front row?
it was definitely on to be
Yeah.
one of the like best laps that had been set that weekend, or since the season started. It was such a good lap.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you see drivers taking these kind of opportunities and doing this kind of lap with I mean the Alpine is good, but it's not like a first team, front team or something like that. But you kind of see the experience the driver has, and all of this he got it because he worked with Ferrari. He's a world champion, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. He's
I
very
feel like you
experienced.
can definitely see the experience. Like other drivers wouldn't have done that kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Alonso's got big cojones, as
There we go.
Carlos would say.
uh, that's funny. But yeah, from all of this, I guess I was also very impressed by how close the cars can follow now. They stayed so close for the whole race. We had even battles between 3 to 5 cars at some point.
Yeah.
Which it was very nerve-wracking for me, but also exciting, and it just shows that the new regulations are definitely working.
Yeah, they're definitely doing what they've been brought in to do. I remember there was a point where Leclerc was like 6 seconds ahead, and it was kind of like in my head, I was going like, please don't say he's gonna like run off with it, kind of thing. But then even before Max's failure, which I'm sure we'll get into, he was closing that gap quite rapidly to Leclerc. He was obviously, the Red Bull arguably this weekend was quicker than the Ferrari.
Mhm.
The Ferrari had better one lap pace, but the Red Bull had just a good overall pace and speed. So you could see where obviously he's gaining time on Leclerc. So I think he got the gap down to like 2 seconds before the problem with the car. So obviously the regulations are doing what they've said they're going to do. And it's great that the teams have worked out a way with the cars that they are going to ride that close to each other, and they are going to be that close to each other when it comes to racing, especially at a track where there weren't a lot at the last race we had.
Very exciting. Another thing that I found very interesting was the Mercedes and McLaren train at some point, like around lap 20.
Yeah.
Just Mercedes and McLaren just vibing behind George and Lewis. But I also saw that they were not opening their DRS on the straights, which was
confusing.
Weird. But that also showed the amazing tire management from Mercedes. And I don't think they're off the pace that much now. But it's still like the car is not where it's supposed to be.
There was definitely rapid improvements, though. You can see where the pace has picked up from Jeddah, just in the quali laps themselves. So there was still a bit. It seems like a very unstable car. Like when it was doing its 1 lap pace, and I think I rode on board with Lewis for a quali lap, and the car still looked really unstable, but it wasn't porpoising as much, which is great for them because that was what they were suffering from.
But you could still see their helmets bouncing around, which is still
that
very
was
funny.
so funny.
There was a thing on Twitter where they said how Lewis had like more weight on his car because he had like some how do you say, some stuff to to collect information about the porpoising for Mercedes, and like how it did quite great knowing he had a car that weighted more than what it was supposed to. So I guess maybe we will see next race if they really found what wasn't really working before.
Mhm.
So that's kind of exciting.
2 weeks to Miami.
It's definitely a rapid improving car. I think
Next is
it was
It is. Am I wrong?
what the next race?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Miami.
Isn't it?
It's Miami.
No, it's similar.
Isn't it
Similar. Sorry.
Never mind. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, don't know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
no,
Never
it's
mind. Yeah, it was just
only being 2 weeks each time between like most of the races.
Mhm.
another thing just about the Merc, because we were
Mhm.
talking about obviously how it has improved from Jeddah to Australia. It was still a bit of a weird comment from George. He basically saying that they were like the 5th fastest team. But like when you try and work it out, obviously you're putting Red Bull and Ferrari ahead of them, obviously. But when he says 5th, it's kind of, I saw a lot of people going like, who are the other two that you're putting ahead of Mercedes? And like some people were saying like people are putting Alpine ahead, and Alpine have had good pace this year, don't get me wrong, they're definitely looking like a strong car, but are they quicker than the Merc? And same with, someone said about McLaren, and it was like McLaren have been off the pace in Bahrain. Jeddah, it kind of came back, and then Australia for them has been great, which I'm sure we'll talk about as well. But would you put McLaren ahead of Mercedes as well?
I don't think so.
For me, Mercedes are the 3rd fastest at the moment.
Yes, definitely. Who else has been?
Seemed like a bit of a weird comment for George to make, and
definitely
I was like,
not Aston Martins.
Maybe he's trying not to expect too much from him. Sandbagging a bit, probably.
It was just a weird comment to make, and I was like, I get you're trying to maybe play down what you're doing, but at the same time, you're not that slow.
Yeah. But then that's a trend, you know, they're sandbagging, because George said that, and during a Sky Germany interview where they asked Toto what he thought was the position, he was like, no, we're definitely not fighting for the championship this year. We're gonna focus on next year's car. But they're doing great. Like, they've been on the podium for every race.
Every race? Not every race.
Two of the 3 races.
2 out of the 3. Bahrain was Lewis, Australia was
and them saying like, oh no, we're not quick enough. Oh no, we're not fighting for championships. A bit weird.
A bit of out of the pocket comment to make, I suppose.
Cheeky little Merc, huh?
Cheeky little lies.
They got a podium each time Max DNF, so we need Max to DNF more.
I guess it was good luck.
They're just sitting there like praying. They're like, oh my god, more Max DNF, circle, please.
Yeah.
Or just karma for Red Bull. I don't know. Big questions.
Talking about Alpine, I can't remember seeing much of Ocon.
He drove his own race, but he did quite well.
Yeah, he qualified P8 and then got P7 in the end, but I can't remember seeing much of him. I mean, good for him. That means he didn't go to...
He was consistent.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't think he had like any big events happening this weekend. But I mean, I guess it's good if you can concentrate on your race.
In a way, it's good, but in the other way, you're like, where was he?
Where are you?
But he did get points, so that's great. That's
you know, I got that same feeling during the race, not during qualifying, with Latifi. Like, he was so bad. He was so far back.
Yeah, on the race we didn't saw him. I mean, I feel like we only see him when he crashes. I mean,
Yeah, he has
that's
been
quite
crashing.
bad to say, but I feel like we only see him when he has a crash or yeah, like I don't know. I'm still not feeling good things about Latifi, seeing
Yeah,
how much he crashes,
I don't think
and
he's
good
doing
thing he's
doing great
doing
this
monitoring
It's
season.
definitely a
teams.
concern.
It
Yeah.
Like
is.
it's
Like,
not great that obviously he hasn't scored a point yet, but he
mhm.
only scored his first points last year. But the amount of crashes that he's having, and the one with Stroll
Oh my god.
in
Oh,
quali was a bit just
do you
like,
think it was Troll's fault or Latifi?
oh,
I guess it was a bit of both,
yeah,
but I was
I feel
hearing
like Stroll, yeah.
there was a lot of confusion with the engineers. Also because the time during qualifying was so tight and everyone was trying to rush to do a lap. Um, but I think it was a bit more of Stroll's fault. He
Yeah.
definitely went into him a bit.
it's like looking at the situation, right? Like the whole situation in perspective was Latifi's come out of the pits, and then Stroll is coming round. Obviously, like he's not on a lap; he's on an out lap, and Latifi's coming out for an out lap, and then Guan Yu Zhou was behind Stroll, and I think Stroll thought that Zhou was going to go for a lap, so he's tried to move out of the way to let Guan Yu Zhou through. Latifi's seen a gap, obviously not knowing Zhou's behind him.
Mhm.
He's gone down the inside of Stroll. Stroll's turned in, trying to move out the way for Guan Yu Zhou. One thing leads to another. Bang.
Those
And they
two
end up
this
crashing.
weekend, pain in my ass.
The
Just,
Battle of the Canadians.
just
Yeah.
no. And the fact that the Stroll crashed 1 minute before they were fixing his car because he crashed or he had problems or something.
The Aston Martin mechanics were put to the
Yes.
test this weekend, especially with the problem with Seb's car, and then
Yeah.
obviously that whole thing with Stroll as well.
Mm-hmm. But they did a great job.
They did. I mean,
It must be crazy to work under those conditions, under so much pressure. I cannot
yeah.
imagine.
There's immense pressure, especially with, I remember, like, you know, whole thing of like Seb wasn't going to get out for qualifying. So they were like, yeah, Seb's just not going to set a lap. And then it was like, oh, hold on a minute. He can actually go for a lap here.
Thanks to Stroll's crash.
Yeah.
Just, that's the mechanics. A lot of respect for them this weekend, because they were just put to the
Definitely.
limit the whole weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, crazy stuff, to be honest.
A lot of
And
crashes.
how sad. Yeah. And how sad to say I'm pretty sure Seb will be retiring at the end of the year.
You really think so?
I'm not sure, but like I do hope they will be doing better at the end of the year during the year, because if not, Seb will be gone.
Probably.
That's sad to say.
And
but-
who's gonna take that seat then?
It'd be a damn shame, to be fair, though.
Who's gonna
The-
take that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be happy if Seb left. That would be an end of
But
an
then-
era.
The question is, who would replace him at Aston Martin? Because,
Exactly.
you know, you're going to need someone to fill that boot. That's a big boot to fill.
It
He's
is.
a four-time world champion,
And
for
would
God's
you
sake.
think like another driver would move, or they would bring a new driver?
What about Gasly?
Aston Martin, you know, they don't have like.
There's going to be a few drivers that are out of contract this year. Gasly
Bring Oscar
being one of them.
Pierre.
Yeah, to
Oscar.
Aston Martin confirmed.
Imagine him in that green suit.
Yeah.
Can you picture that?
But then would you want to see Gasly, who is a very good driver?
Mercedes when Lewis retires.
Yeah, I'd rather see Gasly on a Mercedes.
But like obviously we're talking on the perspective of, you know, Gasly's out of contract. If Seb does retire and Gasly, you know, decides he wants to go to Aston Martin, would, as a Gasly fan, Jane, I'm sure you'll be on this because you like Gasly, would you want to see him at a team like Aston that are struggling so much?
No, but I don't think they how to say. I don't think they yeah. I definitely think they will give him another contract like at AlphaTauri because he's doing good. I mean, he doesn't have. Oh yeah, he did have a crash, but it was because of the car, not him.
That
And
was the
he's
Red
doing
Bull
good.
issue, wasn't it, at Bahrain
The
with all
question
the
is,
engines?
the
Yeah.
question is if he's gonna take that contract because they're probably gonna
Yeah.
extend it, but does he want to still be on a Red Bull team? That's the big question.
Yeah, I think if they bring him like the main Red Bull team, that he will go. But if not, he's gonna move for
Yeah,
sure.
I
Or he's
don't
gonna wait
see.
a seat at Mercedes.
It'd be a shame for AlphaTauri to lose someone like Pierre, though, because he is so consistent and he is
Definitely.
such a
Yeah,
talented
but
driver, like we know.
they
But I
do have a lot
don't.
of drivers in their. I feel like they have a quite big academy, and with the drivers there, or I'm not scared that they're gonna find someone that is talented. They
Mhm.
have they have a good academy, so
That
Yeah,
is
and
true.
you nab kind of from the Red Bull Academy because you've got Lawson, you've got Vips. People forget you've got Jehan Deruvula, I think, is Red Bull Academy as well. So there are talented drivers that not only have already come through like Lawson and Vips, but you've got drivers that are in F2 that can still perform.
yeah. Forgot his name. Oh,
Which one?
F3. Um, not Lawson. He's a F3 champion. He was.
Dennis
Oh,
Helga.
yeah.
Boom, got it. He's a Prima now in F2.
Yeah, but he's a Red Bull Academy, I think. Right?
Yes, he
Oh yeah,
is.
Red Bull Academy.
So
He's in.
they have a lot of drivers that can come through, but with AlphaTauri, you'd be damned to lose Gasly. To be fair,
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did anyone else find that during the race, Lewis wins? I mean, he most of them his, but he was being a bit sassy about the safety cars, which I can understand because they did not work in his favor at all. And they benefited George in the end. George.
Yeah.
was it a comment that he made? He was like, "You're not making this easy for me. Like it's not
Yes.
meant to be."
Yeah.
Yeah, but like it wasn't in a mean way. I feel like I don't know.
No, I don't think it was
In a
mean.
way,
I just think he was being
yeah.
sassy.
Yeah, but like a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people say he's he's just crybaby, just crying about it and stuff like that. I mean, he's just talking to his engineer.
Yeah.
It's nothing
People
bad
love to
about it.
interpret a bit more into those radio messages.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite complicated to interpret people talking with adrenaline and driving that fast. That fast. Sorry, my phone almost fell. Like you can't interpret these kind of things.
Yeah, I cannot imagine working under so much pressure. I cannot imagine being in a position of an F1 driver. It's just not.
Like there was Alonso helmet camera during the start, and I don't even know how they have to think about the cars in front of them and behind of them, and then all the stuff they had to do on their steering wheel. It's just quite crazy. And talking to someone back, like how
a lot of
they
focus.
Yeah, it's quite.
Lewis was just a sassy boy. There was a clip that went viral on Twitter, and it was him and George doing a conference interview thing, like the not like a actual FIA one, the one they done for the Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And George is talking about Lewis and how it's great to drive, and he drive against him. He calls him Mr. Hamilton, right? And Lewis goes, "Oh, I thought you were talking about my dad for a second." Then he goes, "It's Sir, actually." And George looks mortified. He's like looking at him like, "Oh my god, I didn't refer to him as Sir." But you can tell Lewis is joking because he's like play hitting George. But it was just the way that everyone was like, "It's Sir, actually."
We're loving this new bromance.
Another level of sass from Lewis.
Yes. And I don't know. I love that they are getting along. Also, Lewis posted on his Instagram a picture of him and George working out together, which was very sweet.
He also congratulated George after the race on his Instagram story. He posted the picture of George with his trophy and said, "Oh, great to see George up there." And I was like, that's wholesome content that we love to see.
Yes, we love a good bromance.
There was something strange in the Australian air,
though. Oh my god.
There was just so weird. There were some weird interviews going on. Like there was one of them, Yuki said Pierre gave off good boyfriend and girlfriend vibes.
Yes.
There was another one, Daniel and Lando said they had a hug before the race, and then Lando mentioned his hand going lower and lower. Like, insinuating he was going to grab his bum when they were hugging.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on in Australia. Everyone seemed too happy. But I did love to see that now with less restrictions, we had the team interviews with the fans back. And that's where the drivers seemed a bit unfiltered.
They were unfiltered for the whole weekend, let's be honest here.
It was just crazy. Checo saying he has seen Max naked. Because also, why not?
Another strange one was Carlos. Like they asked Carlos to sing, and he was like, "Nah, I'll only do that in the shower." And then Charles went, "Remind me not to join you in the shower."
Yeah.
I mean, why would you do that?
I guess that's their sense of humor.
That's just strange.
It is weird that all of them have the same sense of humor. They all at some point talked about doing something with each other, which is. It's just very unfiltered. Yuki was saying, I think you mentioned this already, that his relationship with Pierre is like a boyfriend. He sees Pierre like a boyfriend, which is very
that's
sweet.
What I was going on about. He was like, "Yeah, my relationship." Pierre. But when he said it, Pierre like grabbed his chair and moved away from it. Yeah. It's like F1 Drivers Unfiltered Edition, and it's just the Australian Grand Prix in a nutshell.
It literally was.
Yeah, but it was so great to see them more laid back and then just enjoying it, you know?
Yes, definitely.
It was great. Did you see?
Oh, go on.
Sorry, someone like had a fish, like a thing where it was a sun and then it was like Daniel's face on it.
Yes, Lando posted on his Instagram story.
Yeah, it just made me think, do you know like
a big poster, you know? A big poster of Daniel's face photoshopped into a sun.
Yeah,
it was very sweet.
Think about like the baby in the Teletubbies.
Yeah, I think that was the aim.
Yeah, but that baby.
Yeah, the Teletubby baby.
Teletubby. Did you guys watch the Teletubbies growing up? Just a quick question. Yes, I was also.
There was also something that was just great about the overall weekend was the attendance at the race. That was the largest sporting gathering ever that there's been in Australia. There was so many fans that turned up, and they were all so passionate as well. They got Ted doing a shoey after the race.
Really? I did not see that.
Yeah, so they did the post-race stuff, and they cut to Ted, and he was with a load of Ferrari fans and stuff. And then they said, like, how will you be celebrating? And then they all asked if Ted would celebrate as well. And then they all started going, shoey, shoey. And Ted was like, no, I won't do it. because no one's got a shoe that I can drink out of. And someone took their shoe off, and as he went to go cut back to Simon Lazenby, someone gave him his shoe with a Red Bull in. And Ted was like, "Oh, screw it, let's do it." And he done a shoe
Ted.
on live TV.
Imagine Ted drinking off your shoe. What a dream.
The fans
That
love
would be
you,
funny.
Ted.
You'd never wear that shoe again. You would like
Nah.
either frame it or you're selling it, going, yeah, Ted Kravitz drunk out of my shoe.
To be fair, if you do a shoey, your shoes are ruined afterwards. Or you have to like thoroughly wash them. I'm telling you this from experience. Don't do shoeys. Okay. Should we talk about lap 39 where Max's power unit was on fire? I think we mentioned this, but just to close this thought process, it was fluid leaking and then it just caught on fire. Another disaster for Red Bull.
Something that didn't like smell great either, because he came on the radio and he was like, something doesn't smell great. Yeah, I'm stopping the car. But recently, like a few hours after the race, it come out that it was a different issue from Bahrain to Australia. So there was 2 different issues in 3 different races.
But it was the power unit, right?
Yeah, it was something to do with the power and something to do with the fuel. But basically when Red Bull have investigated both of them now, and it has been confirmed as well, that basically they were 2 completely different issues, which for Red Bull and the reliability side of things isn't great, because when you've got 2 issues in 3 different races, it doesn't bide well for what the rest of the season brings. And you're still trying to battle around like the new regs. But when your reliability is out of the window and it's awful, what do the new regs do to that? Like, are the new regs the reason you're having these reliability issues, or is it that your car is just not built to match what 2022 is bringing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely confusing to see Red Bull having so many problems with just being reliable, which brings me to another thought I had. Is the Ferrari the most reliable car on the grid right now?
I'd say
Definitely.
yes. I'd say yeah, without a doubt.
Yep.
Like, at the same time, I'm still suspicious that they are not like shocked about it. They're not, they got like, they are first in the championship and all, and they're not like, wow, we are first in the championship. Like, it's just like they were waiting for it and they knew it. So like, don't be suspicious, but that's
don't be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious.
Like that chick just like, don't be suspicious. Yeah. Don't be suspicious.
Like, I think seriously, it's quite crazy. Even like on the first race, we talked about it. How it's still weird to me
that Ferrari are back on front.
No, that they are not, like, they are happy about it, but they're not that happy about it, just like they knew about it.
Oh, like, yeah. You mentioned that.
I mean, I knew last year they were focusing on this year more, and they worked on it like maybe since a long time, but it's just a bit weird that yeah.
Anyway. Or they have very good poker faces. We'll never know.
I think, like Jane just said about the Ferrari development, they started their development of their 2022 car way back at like Silverstone. So they cut all of the progress on their 21 car, went straight to 22. And then during the off season from Abu Dhabi to Bahrain, there was a lot of speculation that Ferrari were going to have the quickest car, which when you now look at it, they mostly do have the quickest car.
Yeah.
But you can tell like the dedication and the thought process that has gone behind the car. Like when the car got announced and everyone was like, what the hell are those side pods? I'm not being funny.
Very big.
They look to have played off pretty
Yes.
damn well. It's just how they're going to do in other conditions, maybe. Like, you know, say you go to Monaco, they might do awful. You go to the next race, they might do great. So it all depends on what they're going to do. But at the moment, it seems to be working quite well when people thought they
Oh.
I mean, remember last year they said that Ferrari found, like, not a loophole, but found how there were rumors about teams knowing and founding something about the 2020 cars, and well, that rumor might be true then. But they like even last year they talked a lot about it.
Well, it is paying off because
Yeah.
Charles has now.
And I'm living for it.
You're living for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If another team than Mercedes is at the front, then I love Ferrari at the front. I'm really
Same.
happy.
This is where my mind has to go back to that quote from Sebastian Vettel, where he said that everyone is a Ferrari fan, because even if it's not my favorite team, I am happy for them, which is weird. I did not expect that to happen.
Yeah. But like
But
there was a lot of last year people saying Charles is overrated and then stuff like that. And then this year everyone
he's suddenly become the golden boy of the paddock, basically.
Yeah.
Which,
like what Lando had last year with that like star boy status is now what Leclerc has, and it's realistically this is from the perspective of a Leclerc fan, so maybe it's biased, I don't know,
but I don't think that's a new thing, because
Leclerc's always been a bit of a star boy in the paddock. Always.
Yeah.
His first year at Ferrari, he did so well. He had that star moment, which is coming back now that, you know, he literally performed I don't know if it was his first, but a Grand Slam. So
yes, that was his first Grand Slam. I will get my words out eventually. But yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, just that whole, you know, like I think after the race it was Johnny Herbert who said, like, you know, they asked about that kind of that authority that Leclerc has in the paddock at the moment, because he is so high up the grid. And Johnny Herbert turned around and said, you know, he is now the star boy of the paddock. If he wasn't already, he's definitely inserted himself as that now. You know, he's finished on the podium in every race now. He's won 2. He's done a Grand Slam. He's been on pole twice. I mean, you can't really get any better than that in 3 races, can you?
He's definitely on the right track.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely an upward progress.
I can definitely imagine him winning a championship. And I wouldn't be mad about it.
Nah. No.
It would be wholesome more than anything, I think. Because
I think
it's been
everyone
so
is
long since
just
Ferrari has been
him
on that top step.
I mean, just seeing a Ferrari driver winning the championship is always great. Because of how much history the team has.
It's such a nostalgic feeling for everyone.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking of how proud his dad and Jules would be. So, yeah.
You want to make me cry? We don't talk about that. I'm such a crybaby, honestly.
Yeah.
Jane just said about like how it's great seeing Ferrari driver win the championship. I think there's almost like, I don't think, you know, when Seb said everyone's a Ferrari fan, you know, everyone's a Ferrari fan deep down, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
But even
don't tell that to Maddie.
But even seeing a Ferrari driver win a race, you hear the Italian national anthem. That's wholesome. Everyone loves that. I'm not being funny. There's not a moment like today when I watched the race and me and all my friends watched it. We were all on a call at 6 a.m. God knows why. When the Italian national anthem starts playing, everyone loved it. You know, no one's got a bad thing to say. You know, we're all just there like, you know, that's great to see when Ferrari had them drop in form in years and they're finally back where, you know, everyone kind of wants them to be.
Yes. Talking about another wholesome moment, Russell's first podium with Mercedes on the anniversary of his 63rd Grand Prix.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. I think not.
Did they plan it? Maybe.
Probably.
It's just organised. They're just there, like, yeah, on your 63rd race and your third race with Merck, you will get a podium. Toto's like rubbing the crystal ball, just like, right, let it happen.
Do you think drivers count how many Grand Prix they were at?
I could imagine
Probably.
Kenny counting how many Grand Prix he done.
But after a while, I think
maybe
you stop counting.
Yeah, but like maybe because they're all, younger drivers don't do it. But yeah, I was just thinking that because I'm pretty sure he didn't know either.
Yeah.
We're just crazy fan counting how much Grand Prix he has done.
It'd be crazy to count how many like that Lewis Hamilton's done or whatever. Or
yeah, I think that wraps up the whole race basically. But we do have another couple of interesting facts and memes that would be worth talking about. For example, Rocky, so Seb's race engineer from Red Bull, he's stepping down from the pit wall now to go to junior counseling or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait,
and I thought that was quite interesting.
How long was he engineering before then? Like, how long has he been engineering before he stepped down?
A Red Bull? I mean, he was Seb's engineer, so quite a few years. I'm not sure how long, but...
Was he there, like, before Seb started at Red Bull?
I think so, yes.
Oh, that's a long time then.
Yep. Long career in F1. Another interesting fact. What is that? What was that? Merck was on every Australian podium in the hybrid era since 2014. They have been on the podium for the Australian Grand Prix.
Wow.
Yep.
That just reminded me as well, Leclerc broke Hamilton's pole streak because Hamilton had been on pole, I think, 6 years running every time they'd raced at Australia, and Leclerc broke that.
Yep. Amazing. Another interesting fact, the Twitch quartet were, for the first time, on the points together. So that means Lando, Alex Albon, George, and who am I missing? Charles, of course. The Twitch quartet finally together, racing in the
I do miss
points.
their videos and their streaming. 2020 was
lockdown streams were the best.
Yes,
honestly, they were so good.
So much fun content coming from them during lockdown.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what kept me alive.
It just reminded me. Would you talk about?
I'm just thinking about. I think it was Albon. They were playing a goat simulator, and he thought they were gonna milk the
goats. I think it was Charles. They were talking about.
You are the goats, and you run around knocking stuff over.
Oh yeah,
mate. Another interesting fact while we're here.
Yes.
And it's straight gone out of my head. That's great. Oh yeah, there were a lot of drivers under investigation after qualifying.
Mm-hmm.
There was Perez that was under investigation during qualifying for the infringement under yellows. Apparently he didn't slow down the yellows. Verstappen had the same. Leclerc then got investigated for having a slow in lap.
Mm-hmm.
There was investigations flying left, right, and center. The FIA were having a field day with all of this stuff.
But I mean,
they were
it was worth investigating if it's like if there is a rule infringement there, why not look into it and then just be fair with the rule book, you know? Fortunately, I don't think there were a lot of penalties.
No.
But
just Lance Stroll won, which was very funny because he dropped from.
Yeah, I want your perspective on this.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the race there was a little tussle between excuse me if I get the names wrong. I think it was Stroll and Bottas.
Mhm.
There was a little tussle, and there was a debate that was sparked of should Stroll have got a 5-second time penalty for forcing Bottas off track. I don't know if you guys actually saw the clip itself in the race.
Yeah, but
if you
I don't think
did,
it was because he forced him off track. It was because he was
weaving on the straight.
waving
Yeah,
under braking.
he got a penalty for the weaving on the straight, but there was a investigation into would he have got a penalty for forcing Bottas off of track.
Yes.
Do you think that was liable for a penalty, or do you think it was just, stop driving a bit like an idiot and don't force drivers off the track? Like, what do you think? What would you do in that situation as the FIA?
Stop driving like an idiot.
Stop. I feel like it was just hard racing. Obviously, the weaving under braking was not okay, especially because he did it repeatedly, even when he got the penalty. I was very annoyed at him for that. So Stroll, I don't know what was going on with him, but he was reckless.
It was definitely one of them just odd weekends where the driver's form just completely goes off a cliff, and it's just like, well, like what's happened here then? Because Stroll, he's not a bad driver. Come on, let's be honest here. He's had podiums, he's put it on pole position, but when you do stuff like you do when you weave on a straight and you get involved in a crash with Latifi, you possibly force Bottas wide, it does kind of tarnish you as a driver, because people will look at aspects like that and go, well, why is that happening when you're driving? Especially for a team like Aston, where they're going to need to score as many points as possible, and you've got drivers that are, not being the cleanest on track. So Aston Martin, I can imagine, will probably be on Stroll's case and be like, you've got to be a bit cleaner, stop getting penalties, please. Which we need points.
Now that you bring that up, that reminded me of a commentary from the Sky Germany. Basically they were saying when the Stroll Latifi crash happened during qualifying, they were like, well, this is what separates the great drivers from the ones that are driving back to the paddock in a scooter right now. They are
it's a bit harsh, isn't it?
They are very harsh sometimes, but I mean, I had to laugh a little bit because they're savages, and I don't know, I just thought it was really interesting.
It's interesting to see like just the different commentators from different countries having different outlooks on everything, especially like you said with Sky Germany and stuff. I don't know if the French like commentary is any like different, or they're actually more violent.
We have Jacques Villeneuve, so he has something to say about everything, I swear. Oh, sometimes he annoys me. We have Julien Febvre, which is who is a journalist, and he's super happy about things, and he's like screaming when French drivers are doing something, and he's just so happy. And then there's Jacques, who says, yeah, he can do better. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, no, that's not how you race. Like, dude,
just critiquing like
everything. Very harsh.
Yeah, he said like Seb won't retire because there's a big check, like he has a contract with money and stuff like that. And Julien was just like, yeah, well, with how much money he has, he doesn't care about it. And then Jacques was like, yeah, he does, blah, blah. He annoys me.
It just becomes like a snore fest after a while. You're just there like,
well, he's Canadian, so that's why, maybe. Canadians were just annoyed this weekend.
The Canadians are on a mad one this weekend.
Yeah. They didn't like the Australian Grand Prix.
Australian Grand Prix doesn't agree with them, apparently.
Yeah, no. Wasn't a great weekend for them.
No.
Need a bounce back Imola, which hopefully will be more exciting than the Australian Grand Prix was, and maybe there'd be a bit more Ferrari domination.
Ooh,
Who knows? That's
in
it's a home track
Italy,
for them.
they're gonna do their best to dominate in Italy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That will be the one place outside of Monza. That'll be the one place they want to dominate because it is Italian.
Definitely.
Excited for Monza.
Monza.
Always delivers.
Oh, I really want to
Monza.
go back to Monza this year.
Monza will be absolutely amazing if Ferrari win. Imagine a Ferrari 1-2 at Monza.
Yeah.
That would be quite incredible.
And without COVID regulations this year, it's going to be crazy.
You're going to have a replay of what happened in 2019 when everyone flooded onto the track. That was amazing. And that was for a Ferrari win. Imagine if it's a 1-2. That would be even more insane.
I need to go to Monza this year.
Monza would be the one.
See that live.
Get lost on the track again. You might get picked up by Ferrari.
I don't know if I can do that again.
Maybe one day we'll have to do like a story time of Carla's adventures in Monza.
Yeah, I have to tell that story at some point.
We'll do a story time one day, and it's going to be Carla's adventures while she was in Monza.
Yeah, people don't believe it was an accident. Some people are like, "Did you really get lost?
Yeah,
or did you,
I saw that on your TikTok.
Purposely
just snuck onto the track.
Jealous. They didn't get lost.
Oh yes, because I purposely meant to get lost on the track and get picked up by a mechanic.
Yeah,
but I want to definitely do a story time soon. Okay, just before we wrap this up, last meme I saw I thought it was very funny. There was a fan made a big, like, how do you say?
Poster.
Like a poster, thank you, of Will Buxton.
Oh, I've seen this.
And it said, if you take first place, you will win the race. Just making fun of him in Drive to Survive.
My favorite one I saw was, Charles, you're my favorite red flag.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw that one. Everyone on Twitter was like, did that actually just say what I thought it did?
Yeah. That was a very good idea.
You're my favorite red flag. Oh dear.
And to finish this up, I just want to ask you guys what your favorite thing, moment, meme on this weekend was.
Do you want to start, Carla? What was your favorite moment? Oh,
you
me?
Go.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, obviously I like Leclerc, so the race win is probably the best moment of this weekend. And it was also just the really amazing scenes of when he's parked the car in Parc Ferme and he runs to the Ferrari mechanics and the team and they're all jumping and hugging and then singing the Italian national anthem. It was a very nice sight to see Ferrari back where, people want them to be. And yeah, it was just overall very, very wholesome content.
Mm-hmm. What about you, GM?
It's not really a meme, but when drivers get close or almost hit someone and they're more like, what is this idiot doing, or stuff like that. And then there's Mick just like, holy cow, that was close.
with the was it the safety
holy
car
cow.
Restart or whatever it was?
I think I can't remember what
it was under a safety car.
Yeah. It was just like,
dear.
holy cow, that's close.
And it was because his voice is like very, very quiet. It just seems like he's like, holy cow, that was close. He just like he's snuggling baby.
That was very funny. That was also a big commentary point on Sky Germany. When they were
really? It wasn't really talked about a lot in the UK, to be fair, that whole little incident.
I mean, Mick is German and we talk about German drivers a lot. So Seb and Mick are always on the spotlight here, which is fun because I love them.
As they should.
As they should. It's like in the UK, it's mainly, you focus on like Lando and Lewis. And now that George is at Merck, he is getting a lot more attention. But this season, it's been completely different. It's more on Leclerc.
Yeah, but they were laughing about Mick.
No French drivers.
No, they were laughing about Mick
saying. Don't focus on Gasly.
Just finish my thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
the Sky commenters were laughing about Mick saying "holy cow" because that's not an expression they have heard before.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, "What is that? What does that even mean, holy cow?" Funny.
Was that your favorite moment from the weekend? Just the German commentators not knowing what holy cow meant?
No, but it was definitely a funny one. Thanks, German commentators.
What was your favorite moment from the
I think overall, just seeing how wholesome and thoughtful everyone was to Daniel being his Grand Prix, his home Grand Prix.
the Daniel Ricciardo Grand Prix? That's what it's now named as.
Yeah.
I think that was just, and also because I love Daniel. So it was just fun to see every driver rooting for him and all of the fans rooting for him.
True.
But my favorite quote would have to be, well, I don't have the exact quote, but someone asked Pierre where he got his good looks from, and he
Oh
said
my
it was
God, I
the
think I know what
effect
this
on
is.
Daniel's smile.
Yeah.
Aw.
Everyone in Australia just loved Daniel. And
Yeah.
there was another, before we wrap this up, my favorite wholesome moment was when the McLarens crossed the line and it was a standing ovation for Daniel crossing the line with the McLaren. It was so amazing
We
because
love an
everyone
emotional
loves
moment
him.
here.
And yeah, it was just such a nice moment seeing everyone give Daniel a standing ovation when he crossed the line for his own Grand Prix.
Yes. So glad
Yeah,
to
it
see him
was.
back at his home Grand Prix. Go Daniel. Okay. Anyone some finishing thoughts or should we?
No.
Okay.
I just
Wrap
hope
this up.
that Imola gives us the same amazement that Australia has given us.
Yeah. Well, definitely
And I
with the
hope
new
to be more
regulations.
awake.
Yes.
I hope
Don't wake
not
up
to
at
get up
7.
at 6 a.m. again for a race.
Never again. No,
Yeah.
thank you. Well,
I still haven't recovered from going out on Thursday, and this morning was rough.
hope you weren't hungover.
No, I don't drink, so
Oh,
that's
cool.
fine.
That's
I'm
very
just drunk
good.
tired.
Don't drink and drive. Cool. So that was it for our Australian Grand Prix review. This is Talk Talks. I cannot say our name, which is funny.
Talk talks.
Talk Talks. I have to do a British accent for this. Talk Talks. But yeah,
Amazing.
thanks for being here. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, of course, where we
Yeah.
have very exciting content coming up for you. Don't miss it. And we will see you in Imola.